this is Dave with Wags Automotive, and we're back in North Carolina today. We're working on my cousin, my nephew, Nick, is, what is this, 2001? Yep. 2001 Toyota MR2 that we put the Honda engine in. And today we're working on the underside of it. We got some braces going in. So first of all, we'll show you this center brace that he's got in here. He's actually got two. So he's got this brace here. That's a center brace. And where'd you get this from, Nick?
Some random guy in like Michigan. He doesn't even sell them anymore.
Okay, so we got this from a guy in Michigan. He said he doesn't sell them anymore. So I guess if you like that brace, which bolts here, here, there, and there, it's kind of an X brace. Let me back up so you guys can see it. So if you like that brace, I guess you have to make your own, which I mean, it's just flat steel. You could make your own if you wanted that brace. And then we've got this larger red brace. Let me back up so you can see that. And that was sent over here from overseas. Where we're at?
The UK.
Over in the UK, and the guy's name is, there's a website?
Barbarian Racing.
Barbarian Racing. And I'll put a link to this on the video here so you guys can see it. This is, again, another floor brace. It's a lot bigger one. You probably, if you got the one from Barbarian, you wouldn't need the other one.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't even use it.
So the Barbarian one would probably be good enough for you. It's aluminum. The only problem we had with it was the holes here. They did not line up with the bolt holes in the body, so we had to slot the holes. What we did is we mounted it on the front or the back, and the front mounts up there, and got them lined up. And then we knew where the holes needed to be here, so we marked them, and then we drilled them and slotted them so these two center bolts would fit. So if you buy this thing from Barbarian Racing, you may have to modify these center holes to fit. But if the Barbarian guy, if you watch this video, you might want to slot these center holes. That way the bolts will line up easier. So if you slotted those, that'd be great. If they're not slotted, you'll have to slot them yourself. Maybe. I mean, every car is different. You know, you just never know. Okay, now the next thing we're going to go to is we got this brace here on the floor. And this brace here, we got some rain going on, so we got thunder in the background. This brace here also came from the UK, and you know the guy that made it?
His name's Boris.
His name is Boris, and we'll get a link. He's got an Instagram channel, or a feed on Instagram, so we'll try to get that link and post it in here too. But this brace here is designed to go on the MR2 with the MR2 engine in it, with the Toyota engine in it. So Nick's got a Honda engine in it. So Nick, you want to hold that brace up there and we'll kind of get an idea of what's going on here. So here's the problem, guys. The problem is with this brace here, you've got the header is in the way. See, as you can see, this mount here will go in place. This one here is way off. And then it's because the header hits. And then back here, you've got a mount here that's supposed to go on that bolt up there. But as you can see, that mount is like quite a ways. Here, let me get a light on this and kind of show it to you guys better. Hold on. All right, let me get a light. There we go. Okay, now hopefully you guys can see this. All right, there you see the bolt up there? That's where that's supposed to fit, and it's too short, so we're gonna have to make some major modifications to this thing to fit. So here's what's going on, guys. This guy does not have one of these Toyotas over here in the UK where he makes these braces. So he has sent this brace to Nick, and they've asked me to make the prototype of this brace because there's a lot of guys on the MK2 channel that, or A24K, what is it? The engine, what is the engine? K24. There's a lot of guys on the K24.
Or the K20.
Or K20. Websites or on the internet, on Facebook stuff, that want this brace to fit in an MR2 that has the K24 engine in it. So, but this guy does not have one of these MR2s over there in the UK, so he don't know how to make the brace. So he sent this brace to Nick, my cousin, my nephew. I keep saying my cousin, he's my nephew. He sent this brace to my nephew Nick, and he has asked me to modify this brace to make it fit this car, and then we're going to send it back to him as a prototype, and he's going to start producing this brace to fit the MR2 with the K24 engine in it. So the first thing we had to do is hold that brace up right there, Nick. No, this one. Yep. So this brace here goes up. Show him where it goes, Nick. It goes on the lower link mount on the bolt there. It goes there, and then it goes up and mounts to the bottom of the main brace. But the problem here is this brace, as you can see, it's right up against the belt and the pulley, so it's in the way. So what I've done, the first thing I've done to modify it is, and this is the brace for the other side because I wanted to make them both the same, so I've cut it at an angle. Hold the other one right up next to this one, Nick. Hold the other brace up next to this one. Oh, hold on. Stupid. All right, there we go. So now you can see what I've done. You see how much I've modified that. I've cut it at an angle, and now this brace will fit right in there where it needs to be, and you can get a socket in there to tighten up the bolt, because you got to pull this mounting bolt that goes all the way through this lower control arm. You got to pull that mounting bolt completely out and slide it through this hole in the brace, and it goes in there, and then the brace bolts directly to the body and through the lower control arm. So we had to modify that. So we're going to modify both sides, but I wanted to show you the difference between the old version and the new version. So that's the modifications I've done to that. I got to modify that one, but I wanted to get a video of it first before I modify it. So this is the first modification we've got to do. So let me finish doing this, and then we'll come back to this video. All right, guys, I'm going to show you these braces. So I got both of them modified. Now you can see they're pretty much identical. I kept quite a bit off of them, but we're going to send those back to the UK, and the guy can modify his design so they fit the MR2s with the Honda engine in them. Next thing we're going to do here, we're looking at the back part of this brace. So if you look, I got it sitting on the bolt here. It goes through these through bolts for the lower control arms and bolts to the front side of them. So I got this one in place. This one here, it won't quite reach. And to start out with, where we're hitting on the transmission. There's a little ear right here on the transmission. I want to show that to you guys before we cut it off. So we're going to cut this ear off and do a little grinding. We may have to notch the pipe here, but we're going to start with cutting this ear off because that ear's not really anything that's used anyhow. So we're going to take a die grinder, we're going to cut that off, and then we're going to see how the brace fits from there. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back, all right? Okay, guys, let me show you what we got. So as you can see, right here, I've taken that little piece of metal out from the transmission. That's giving me a notch. Now, if you look up right here, you can see that this bracket is still hitting the transmission, but we aren't in place. If you look where the bolt goes on the lower control arm here, when I take this nut off and I slide this piece in against the control arm mount, we're going to gain about 3/4 of an inch. And this, where it's touching here, will move back 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll have the clearance we need there. So taking that little chunk of aluminum out there helped a lot. Now, when we go up here, we're as you can see on this side, we're really close to that bolt, but we're not quite there yet. We got to go a little higher up, and now we're hitting right here on the header. So what I've decided I'm going to do here is, you've got this. Let me get back up here so I can see this. You've got this X bracer going across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this brace right across here and right across there, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to move it in to right in here so it's out of the way of the header, and we're going to re-weld it back in there. So we're going to cut that out, and then I'll put the brace up there without this piece in, and we'll see how it fits, and then we'll figure out where we're going to put the piece that I cut out in here somewhere. All right, let's do that, and then we'll see where we are from there. All right, guys, I've been working on this thing for probably an hour and a half or longer, making this second modification. So we'll go up under here, and as you can see, we're on the bolt here on this side, and we're on the bolt here on this side. It doesn't want to push in, but that's because this bolt needs to be out, and then it'll go in and line up. But we've got a good clearance here on the transmission, and when we move it back, we'll have even more clearance. Here's where we're hitting the header. You can see that. I've got enough room to stick my finger in between there now. And what I did is I basically just smashed the tube flat on both sides and then ground it smooth, and I will weld a seam right along there. And this side here, I'll weld a seam along there, and then I'll grind it smooth and flat. And then I got this piece here that I cut out. So it went in right there, and I'll put it over to one side. You can see how much I probably cut about 1.5 inches off of it. But what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put it right there, just like that, and line it up. There. Line it up. Well, it fits one way or the other. I don't know which way it fits. There we go. So I'm going to put it like that. Let me back up here so you can see. So it's going to be like that. So the brace is still going to be there. It's just moved in, and now you can see I got a ton of space between the brace and the header. We're not going to lose our integrity of the brace. You know, if Boris wanted to, he could probably run a piece of steel from here down to that, like an L-shaped piece of steel, and weld it in place to strengthen it a little more. But I mean, again, this is just a prototype, guys. This isn't the final product. I'm just making this so it works on this engine, and then I'm going to send it back to Boris, and he's going to do his thing to it. So, but that's what it looks like on the back of the engine. So now we've got the back to fit, but as you can see up here in the front, we're a mile away from them braces or them mounts up there. So we're going to have to lengthen these tubes quite a bit in order to get that to fit. So we're gonna have to cut these tubes completely off and lengthen them so they'll go up in here to this bolt where they're supposed to be and re-weld them. So we'll cut these off. We'll have to get some more steel. Tomorrow's Sunday, so we probably won't be able to do it tomorrow. We'll have to do it Monday. Go get some steel tubing and lengthen these out, and then this will work. It's gonna hang a little low if I back up here under the car. Can you push that up any higher, Nick, or is that as high as it goes?
It's hitting the pan right here.
It's hitting the pan, okay. Whoop, oh, that's fine. All right, so it's hitting the pan. Okay, so it's hitting the pan right there. Yeah, okay. Well, I think we'll probably have to modify that then to make that work. So,
we move this brace over slightly.
well, so I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut this brace out, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did here. I'm gonna shorten it and move it in so it misses the pan. So I gotta cut that brace out. So that's gonna be a fun job too. But I think, what time is it, guys?
5:30.
5:30. What time are we eating? Okay, so I think we're gonna quit for tonight. We've been at this all day long. It's hot and it rained today. It's really humid, but I think we're gonna quit for tonight. So that's what we got done so far. But we'll work on this brace here tomorrow and get it moved for the oil pan, and then we'll be able to put it further up, and then we'll be able to work on the front mount. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, we're back here on the MR2. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't have the microphone plugged in. All right, guys, we're back here on the MR2 again today, and we're still working on this lower engine brace. So what I've done is I've removed, you can see where I've removed this section of pipe right here, or tubing, to clear the oil pan. So now we can put this thing up. When we put it up, of course, we got more problems. One thing we did is we went ahead and took the nuts off of the control arms, because these tubes slide over the nuts and you screw the nuts in from the inside. So we took them off so we could actually mount it in place, because we were hitting right here on the transmission, and now that we took the nuts off up here, we're able to slide it back to where it belongs. And if you raise it up, you can see you've got tons of clearance where that tab was. So that tab's not in my way anymore. I mean, I still needed to remove it, but it's not in my way anymore. So now the problem we're faced is we're getting closer to where the mounting bolts go, but we're still a good 2 inches away from them. I'm trying to get this thing as high as I can get it so it doesn't drag on anything, and we're the same there. So now that we've got this piece out, we're clearing the oil pan, and I'm gonna move that piece over here so it clears the oil pan. But then now we're hitting the transmission right here, and then once we get this problem addressed, we're gonna hit it here on this tab. So we've got two choices. We can either cut these tabs off, or we can, again, move bars. And I really don't like cutting these off because they serve a function. There's a dust cover that goes here, and anybody who's got one of these cars, if they want to put the dust cover on and they have to cut these tabs off to make this thing work, they're probably not going to want to do that. This tab over here was just a casting tab that was not used for anything. These are actually used for the dust cover, so we need to keep those in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bar right across here and remove this bar and get it out of the way. And it's a good thing that I found this, because I've got this piece here that, you know, we already cut out that was back on the back here. We got to move it up. Well, if I'm going to move this bar to this area right in here, then this piece here is probably going to have to be shortened. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this bar off, and then we're going to see how close we can get. This one here, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I may just dimple the tube. I may notch it. I really don't want to cut it because it's all one piece all the way across. This is the one tube that's all the way across. So I want to try to leave that tube, but I may dimple it or something. This thing isn't very big. I could cut this tab off. I mean, it's one tab. It's not going to hurt anything to cut that one tab off. But I think I might be able to dimple the tube with a hammer and get it to go up. And we're just trying to get this as high as we can. I don't think we're ever going to get it all the way up to where it needs to be, but I want to get as close as I can. I'd like to get this, if you can see how, here, let me get over here so you can see the difference in height between here and there. I want to try to get this bar as close to the bottom of the gas tank as I can, because I don't really want it to hang below the gas tank, so I want to get as high as I can. I just want to do this right, so when the guy starts making them, then he knows what to do to make them the right way. But anyhow, so we're going to keep working on this, and we'll see what happens with it. But I want to show you this before I cut this bar off. So that's the next step, is cut this bar off. This brace is down to this piece here, the long piece, and the mounting point over there that bolts to the lower control arm. So we're cutting it apart pretty good, but I think once we get it welded back together, it's gonna fit well. It's gonna look nice. So let's cut this bar off, and then we'll go from there. All right, hold on, guys. Okay, guys, we're back again. Made some major difference here. So let me show you what we got going on. So I cut the bar off that goes from here to there, and now the only bar we got left is the main bar going across. But look at this. I was able to get this bolt to mount on this side. This one here is still a ways away, but it's closer. Not too bad. We're now about 1.5 inches away. So now we're hitting right here on the transmission. So I've got 3 choices I can make. One is I can take a hammer and dimple this and try to get it to clear, but I don't think I'm going to get 1.5 inches of clearance out of that. Second choice would be I could cut across the bottom of the bar. Don't cut all the way through, just cut across the bottom and bend this end up and make it fit, but then I'd have a gap here. So what I'm thinking, actually I've got 4 choices. Another choice would be is I could heat this thing up, this long bar up with the torch, and try to bend this end of it up and get it up there. But another choice that I just thought of would be if I put it in a press and I mark it right here where this tab is touching it, right there, and I put it in a press and I press it down, it's going to do 2 things. It's going to collapse this tube, which is going to give me some clearance, but it's also going to put a slight bend in the whole thing, which is going to get me where I need to go up here. And as you can see, when he bends the tubes in his bender, when Boris does it, it collapses them anyhow. So what Boris is going to have to do, he's going to have to figure out the difference between both ends of this bar and the middle is going to come down. So he's got to figure out the height difference between the flat bar and where it is where I'm going to put it at. And then he's got to put a slight bend in the new tube. Just put a slight bend in it to clear the transmission bell housing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a press to start with, and I'm going to try to press it and push this down and collapse it, but also put a bend in it at the same time and see if I can get enough of a bend where we can get this bolt to fit. So that's good news there. But now we got another problem. So now we've got where this rod bolts to the lower control arm on the passenger side. You can see when it's bolted, when we took the nut out up there, see the nut's out. So now we put this in place. Well, now when we try to line these up, you're that far off and you're hitting the engine pulley. So now we got to figure out what we're going to do with that. And again, what I could do is I could put a bend in this bar with a press and try to get it to bend enough to clear that pulley. Or what I could do is move this out to here, and then that lines up, and I would have to weld a tab on to this side so it would bolt onto the lower control arm. So I need to look at that some more and figure that out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one yet. I'm more focused on this one right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off, and we're going to put it in the press, and we're going to bend it right here where it touches, and try to get a little bit of a bend in it, and try to collapse the tube at the same time, and then we'll see where we go from there. I think that might be enough to get us the clearance we need over here to get this up there. Hopefully it will. If not, then we can always space this one out a little bit and drop both of them down, because I mean, you can see on this side there's plenty of clearance here between the bottom of the gas tank and the bottom of the brace now, the engine brace. So if I have to, I can drop this side down a little bit to get this side to go up. So we'll see how it works. Let me get this thing apart, and we'll put it in the press and put a bend in and see what happens. All right, we'll get back with you. All right, guys, I decided to go ahead and video this portion of the modification here. So as you can see, we've got this thing set up in this high-tech 12-ton press from Harbor Fart. So we're going to see if this works. I'm going to have my nephew Nick run the bottle jack there, and we're going to slowly crank on this thing, and we're probably going to have to crank on it, release it a few times, because what's going to happen is it's going to go down, and then when you release it, it's going to spring back. It's going to want to spring back, so we're going to have to keep doing that until we get the bend we want in it. Hopefully it'll work the way it is. I've got a mark right here, as you can see. I marked it with a Sharpie right where the transmission tab was, and I've got my ram set right on top of that and basically centered over the pipe. So basically what we're going to do, we're just going to push down on it and see if it bends. All right, Nick, go ahead and start running that jack, and we'll watch it and see what happens here. You can see it's bending. Yep, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. A little bit more. All right, stop. Okay, go ahead and release it. That's a pretty good bend right there. Whoops, came apart. That's a pretty good bend right there. You want to go a little bit at a time when you do this. You don't want to go too much. It's better to go not enough than to go too much. So as you can see now, it's got a bend in it. So we're going to take it out, and we're going to look at it and see how it fits. All right, let's go ahead and take it out there. Might have to release the jack a little more. Oh, there you go. All right, that's fine. All right, let's take it out and see. Where'd you cut it? No, I bent it.
Looks like the metal's cracked. I don't think so. Oh, no, I think it's just scratched.
Oh, great. Bear's laying on the floor rolling in the dirt. All right, let's see how she fits. This goes here.
$1,000 on a 20% shop fee.
Now it goes this way. Just like that. Holy simoleons. Holy simoleons. Let's take this bolt out. Let's take this bolt out right here, Nick. I think we got it the first time, guys. I think it's going to work. That one right there, that socket and extension, is the correct one. I think we got it. That holds the gas tank in too?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Bolts that hold it in the back though.
Okay.
Or to the front.
Really?
Yeah, because I just put it in. There's two up here.
All right, slide that. Oh, Nick, he's got it. Go ahead and you got to put the bolt in, John, on the back here. You got to put it on the bolt first. All right, now stick your bolt in there. You have your gas tank back up in place. All right, hold on. We're not lined up back here anymore. All right, can you get the nut on that now?
Should be able to hold me. Yeah, that's pretty close. C-clamp.
Just put the nut on. If you got threads in there, yeah, you should be able to get the nut started. Once you get the nut started, it should pull in.
Come on, dude. You guys deal with it. You're being snitches. You're okay if they have a water balloon fight, aren't you? You're okay if they have a water balloon fight, aren't you? They're throwing water balloons, but Ben's doing it.
Trying to get this bolt started too. I want to get everything bolted in place before we say it's good. It looks really close. I think we're going to be able to get it to go. Get it started?
No.
Yeah. No, not started? Yeah, it's turning. It's turning on this end. You need a...
I just don't know if it's cooked in there or not. I don't want to...
Need a 17mm wrench for this end.
I got one. You want me to put a clamp on it? Well, I'm just worried about it.
Just draw it in. It'll draw in.
He's trying not to cross everything. It's just pulling it. Kind of bend it the way you need it.
Need a bigger ratchet.
You're gonna tag it together in place, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, once I get it where it needs to be. All right, we're getting a bigger ratchet because the heavy duty bolt. Yeah,
almost
you probably have to get a.
Almost touched
Yeah, you're gonna have to get probably a. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's too thick.
Yeah, probably have to get a regular socket, not an impact.
What size is it? 17. There you go. Yeah.
That's how to go in there. There we go. That looks like it's in. All right, are these tight? The front one's tight already, or? Okay. There's an extension if you need it. All right. Tell you what, I'm surprised I got it the first time with the press.
You already have it pretty tight?
No, it's just it's having to pull it also.
And I'll break that bolt off.
Yeah, when he called me and we went and picked up this car, I was
All right, now the last one.
working on it for about a year.
And if you guys can see that, we're actually touching right there,
Where? Is it hitting?
just a tad. But I think what I can do is I can take this thing back off. When I take it back off, I'll take a hammer and I'll just dimple that just a little bit, and then it'll clear. But we are bolted in place using the stock tubing. We got 3 spots, but now we got to weld in all our braces. So I've got this short brace that I was going to use here, but I think what I'm going to do, let's see, no, No, wait a minute, that's not right. Sorry, I've got this piece that I cut off from right here, and it's not really long enough to go where I want it to go. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it back here on the back and weld it there. And then I'm gonna use the long piece that I cut off here that we can't use anymore. I'll use it up here to make me a piece long enough to reach this side. So we got that. I think that's looking good. I think that's gonna work. So now we got to piece it together, and I'll video it as we piece it together. So let's start piecing it back together now. Okay, guys. Well, guess what? We got her fit. We got her in place. We got one little modification to make. We're gonna pull it back off. I'll go through and show you what I've done. I'll start over here. I did take this tube here and I put a little bend in it with the press, just like I did with the other piece over there. Put a little bend in it so it now clears the crankshaft pulley, as you can see. So Boris is going to have to figure out this angle and bend this tube to fit that angle right there. And when you put this bolt in on the right side, you need to put the bolt through from this side and the nut on the back side here, because you're gonna have a really hard time getting a nut to go in there and get a socket on that. You may even have to go get an Allen head bolt and put an Allen wrench on this if you can get a socket in there. I think we can get a socket in there now, but I just put the nut on the back side of it so that it'd be easier to bolt together. And the other thing I had to do, I had to, when we put these two bolts on, this one lined up, this one did not. I had to drill it a little bit to get it to line up. So Boris, when you see that, you're gonna have to relocate this front hole on the right side strut. You get to move it this way just a little bit to get it to line back up. So you'll see it when I take it apart. Okay, so we've got this piece here welded in from here to there. It's not welded solid, I just tacked them. But we got this welded from there to there. And then here's our back piece that used to go across here. And I moved it up now so it clears the header. And as you can see, we got tons of room. I can put a whole finger in between the header and the brace there. So I'll weld all this up solid. So that piece is there. And I had an extra piece left over from what I was using, and I just welded it in there just for extra bracing. I think it ain't gonna hurt anything. If Boris, if you want to put it in there, you can. If you don't, then that's up to you. But I mean, it's just a little piece, makes it look nice. Now we come up here to the front, and as you can see, both of these mounting points are using the factory, the original pieces that Boris put on here. So this is in the same location as it would be if this MR2 had the stock Toyota engine in it. I took a piece of angle here, or a piece of tube here, and welded it across here. Now if you look at this, Boris, you could, the bend is right here, so you could come maybe right on this side of the bend and put a piece of tubing from here maybe over to there and make it just a little longer if you wanted to, you know, figure out where your bend is and put it just on this side of the bend, just on this side of the bend. So you can make this tube come back a little further, but this is all I had, so I welded it where I had it. So again, you know, that could be a little longer, but I think it's going to work fine there if that's where you want to put it. I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, it's still strong. We've got plenty of clearance for the oil pan here now, and as you can see, we're almost touching the oil pan there, or maybe we are touching it just a little bit, but it's clearing. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is, now that I see that, I think I'm going to mark it. And I'm going to take a hammer, take a ball peen hammer, and I'm going to dimple that so it doesn't touch the pan. And then the same thing over here, where we bent it, it's still, I don't know how well you guys can see that, it's still touching this bolt tab just a tad. So again, I'm going to take a hammer. I'll take one ball peen and put the ball up against where I'm going to hit, and then hit it with a second hammer and put a little dimple in it right there so that it clears. So we're going to pull it off now. We're going to weld it up. I'm going to put those two dimples in it so it clears the oil pan and clears this. And then we'll bolt it back up and we'll see what the finished product looks like. We'll be ready to go. So give us a little while and we'll get this thing welded up and modified just a little bit more, and then we'll be ready to bolt it up for the final time. All right, thanks guys. Okay guys, it's getting dark. I'm gonna use my flashlight phone here, or flashlight, my phone flashlight, sorry. anyhow, oh, there we go. We got a work light here. Let's just use that. Hold on a second, guys. All right. Is that as far as that reaches? Oh, okay. All right, so we got, yeah, just hold it right there. So we got the brace all welded up. We've got it completely bolted in place. This piece here, I was gonna say it's the only piece we didn't have to modify, but that's not true. We did have to modify it because I had to cut a notch in that end of it right there. So we notched that in there. We cut out this section here and moved it up. We cut out this and moved it this way. And then we added this piece in here just for rigidity. And then we cut out this piece here. It was way back here under the pan. We moved it up, and again, it could probably go right in front of where it's at now and give it a little more strength. So it could go from here to here and still clear the pan, as you can see. I mean, there's plenty of room there, so we don't have to worry about it not clearing the pan. We did that. I had to weld these ends shut here, and you guys will have to excuse my welding because I didn't bring my welder, and my brother's welder, the heat stuck on high, and I just burned this thing up. It was crazy. But I mean, it's not bad. I've seen a lot worse. And then this brace here, we had to bend it to clear the crankshaft pulley, and we also notched it on the end to clear the pulley there. And don't forget, put the bolt in from the inside to the outside on this one and put the nut back here. It makes it easier to bolt that one up. And as you can see, it's bolted up. We got it bolted on here, bolted on there. Those are bolted together. These are in the factory original places where he made them originally to start with. I didn't know if we could get it up there or not, but we managed to do that. So they're both in place. I did make a little dimple with a ball peen hammer right here. I marked it transmission dimple for you, Boris, so you know what that's for, to clear that little tab for the bolt, for the dust cover for the transmission. And then on this side, I put another little dimple in it, and I marked it oil pan dimple. And I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I've got about 1/8 of an inch clearance between this and the pan now. So, I mean, I think it looks great. We're gonna call it good, and I'll put this video together and we'll put it on YouTube. I've got some more videos of this car I'm gonna do because I didn't get it finished up before I had to leave last time, so Nick and I was gonna spend tomorrow and do a couple more videos on it and make it look nice. Maybe take it out for a little drive. He hasn't tuned it yet, so it doesn't run fantastic yet, but he's going to get a tune on it. But I'll have him go through what he's done to it since the last time I saw it, and the modifications and the additions he's made to it, and we'll do that tomorrow. We've got another brace right down there, and that brace goes up here, and we had to modify it between this mounting point and this mounting point. So I'll do a quick video on that tomorrow too once we get it in place. I mean, we just basically had to trim it down a little bit and then re-weld the washers on the end. But we'll do that tomorrow. It's almost dinner time. So we're gonna call it a night. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm really happy with this thing. It looks great. You know, Boris, if you wanted to, if you like this, one other thing you could do, you can run another brace right across here. If you move this over to there and move this over to there, where it still clears the pan, you could also run another brace across here to kind of match that. I don't know, you don't have to put that in there if you don't want to, but you know, I think it looks good. It adds rigidity to it. I think it really makes it look nice. So I think probably putting another piece in here to match that one would look fantastic. But that's just my opinion. So we're gonna send this off to Boris. This is the first prototype ever in the world for this engine brace for MR2 generation, is the second generation? Three? Third generation MR2 with a Honda K24 engine in it. And of course we had to flip the engine backwards because the engine used to be over here and the transmission was over there. So this thing didn't fit anywhere near where it was supposed to, and now it does. I'm really proud of myself. I did a great job here. If you guys like this, man, let me know. You K24 guys, Boris will be having these things ready as soon as he's gonna mock one up and make one in a jig, and then he's gonna send it back to Nick, and we're gonna trial fit it and make sure it fits. And then once we know it fits for sure, the finished product, then we'll let you guys know, and you can get on Boris's website and order this for the Toyotas with the K24 engine in them. So maybe within the next few months that'll get done. It takes a little time to mail this across the seas and, you know, have him mock it up and redo it. So he's going to make it a lot nicer than I did. I just kind of threw it together, but I'm still happy with what I did. I think it looks great. I think it's going to work great. So we'll wait for the new prototype to come back to us, the one that Boris makes, and we'll put it on this car and see what it looks like, and then we'll go from there. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos on this MR2. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, guys. One thing I forgot to mention real quick. Actually, this is more for Boris than anybody. But these bolts, I got my flashlight on my camera here. These bolt holes that are up in the tops of these tubes on both sides, on the front of this brace, I had to open them up. I had to make them about 2 sizes bigger because when I put this bend in right here, it kind of shifted them backwards a little bit because it's got a bend in it now, it's not straight. So it changed the locating mounting points. So I had to drill those out a little bit because they were really tight getting them in before. And now they go right in. So Boris, you're probably going to have to relocate these holes, but I'm sure you got a jig for this thing anyhow. So once you set up the jig, you'll have it right. But we had to relocate them. And, you know, again, if you guys buy one of these, you may have to do a little tweaking on it to make it fit. You know, it's a handmade brace. It's not, you know, anything scientific. So, you know, you may have to do a little tweaking on it to make it fit your car. But because every car is a little different than the last one. So anyhow, I just wanted to let you guys know that I did that and let Boris know so he can be aware of that problem. But we're getting ready to send this thing back. I think we're going to drive the car with it on there a little bit and see how it feels and see if it makes a difference. And then we're going to take it off and send it back to him and let him start making them. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.